as you were expressing it. And this is very important because we are not given this as an education in our basic science courses. Most quantum physics mention there's a thing called quantum physics, and then they don't talk about it very much. but the laws of physics, and why physics are important. Physics means mechanisms. So I could say quantum physics or quantum mechanics, or Newtonian physics, Newtonian mechanics. Physics means mechanics. Mechanics means mechanisms. Mechanisms means why do things occur. So if you want to understand why things occur on this planet, you have to understand quantum physics. And quantum physics says, well, the first reason why things occur is the observer is creating the reality.
That's right.
And then you say, well, what does that mean to me? And I say, well, look, every listener out here is an observer of the world, and they're participating in the way the world is unfolding and what's happening, so that we're not victims looking around and things are happening to us. We are participants in what is happening to us and to the world. Even to this extent, the famous physicist Stephen Hawking, the cosmology man, who's the physicist of how the world, the universe unfolds.
Sure.
Even Stephen Hawking, in a recent paper this year, acknowledged that the universe is evolving in regards to the way humans are experiencing it. What he said is humans, as observers, are altering the evolution of the universe.
Sure.
So when you get down to this, it's like, my God, this is the fundamental nature of physics, and yet we as people go our day-by-day life not knowing the science of this, and yet it is that science that governs our lives.
And yet it feels like shamans and people of more ancient cultures actually have taught a similar philosophy like this for a long time. So there's been a disconnect here, in a way.
Absolutely. That's the fun part. The newest science is revealing the oldest mythology. And yes, this is a planet of magic almost, in magic in regard to us being the magicians. We are creating magic in our lives, and unfortunately, in some people's lives, it's unfortunately a little bit more black magic than white magic, and it's scarier, and yet we can create war or we can create peace. We are creators, and since we aren't given the information about who we are, since our beliefs about ourselves limit us, and here's the unfortunate part, because our education, which gives us our beliefs, tell us who we are and who's in, where the powers lie. So if we buy in our own personal belief that we are weak victims and that the other powers that are out there are more powerful, like the medical profession or the government, that these are the powerful ones, then we as victims become whatever they tell us we are.
That's right.
And so if a doctor says makes a mistake on a diagnosis and says that, oh my God, you're dying of cancer, and you actually are not dying of cancer, but you've just been told that you were dying of cancer, that belief can actually create a cancer in your body and cause you to die.
Really? Jeez.
Yes, and it's interesting because this is not new. This isn't like magic out of a box. Medical science has known this for 100 years, and yet they don't talk about it to the public. But they do mention one part of it to the public because many of the public are familiar with a word called the placebo effect.
Sure.
And what is the placebo effect? And basically it says this: you have an illness, and I tell you that this drug that I'm going to give you is the most modern drug. It's going to take care of that illness and fix you right now. And you believe that, and I give you this drug, and you take it, and you get well. Only later I tell you that was just a sugar pill. There was nothing in there. And basically it's what is called the placebo effect. You can heal yourself with your belief that you can be healed. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, people are familiar with that. That's all over the world. People know that. But what people are not told is another thing that science knows but doesn't tell people. And here's the other thing. It's called the nocebo effect.
Oh, yeah.
And very few people are familiar with it. What does it say? It says, well, it's the same thing. It says your belief controls your health, but a placebo effect is when you have a positive belief and you heal yourself. A nocebo effect is when you have a negative belief, and that negative belief can actually make you sick and can actually kill you. So all of a sudden, you have to realize medicine has recognized for 100 years the power of belief. It recognizes that you can heal yourself with a positive belief, and it also recognizes that you can you can kill yourself with a negative belief. It's not the placebo nocebo effect. It's the belief effect. Positive or negative, it's equally powerful, but in opposite directions. Why is that relevant? Well, the answer is, if people don't know that, if they go out on their day-to-day life and have these thoughts like, oh, that's not going to work, oh my God, I could catch this flu, oh, I have cancer running in my family, I believe I will get cancer too, or my father died when he was 56 and my grandfather died when he's 58, and so I will die when I am 56 or 8. That's a belief that can actually result in that. So by not being informed of this, the public is out there generally killing itself, making itself sick with beliefs that are actually antagonistic to health. And this is not a surprise because medicine already recognizes that these negative beliefs cause these problems. And yet, how come the public doesn't know about it?
And isn't it treated like a kind of a weird, kind of something that is not understood in a way by the medical scientists at this point, but it's a variable, it's there, but it's no reason to kind of look at it because it doesn't make sense,
Oh, well, okay, here's the problem. Number one, is it real? Well, here's a fact. So there's a fact statement, how real it is. It is fully established that one third of all medical healings are strictly due to the placebo effect. That's a fact. Now, you say, well, how much do we know about the placebo effect? And the answer is hardly anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I say, why not? It seems to be very important. And if one third of the people heal themselves with a positive effect, we really should ask this question. If one third heal themselves with positive thinking, how many people get sick because of the nocebo negative thinking? Well, obviously, it's got to be most of them at some degree, and because most of us are thinking negative thoughts about our abilities to be strong and healthy. And then you say, but why isn't medicine studying this? Well, number one, at least in the United States, I can tell you exactly why. There's no research on this, and the reason is, it's not in the interest of the drug industry to study this. Because if you could heal yourself with your mind, then who's going to buy the drugs?
Yeah, sure.
So, it's the same reason as this. Because, answer this question, for example. Are you familiar with that there are many more efficient ways to create energy on this planet other than using fossil fuel?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and I say, then how come we're not using them?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer is, it's not in the interest of the industry that sells oil.
Sure, that's right.
So then I say, it's not in the interest of the industry of the pharmaceutical company to let you know that you could heal yourself without drugs.
And it's no reason for us to sit around and waiting for them to change this, right?
Right. That's why it's time for us to start knowing who we are and put the power back into our own hands.
Yeah.
We've always been powerful, but we bought beliefs from the time we were children, that the kind of beliefs that, who do we think we are? Like a parent would say, who do you think you are? And then we, as a child, will say, nobody. And the answer is yes. You're not powerful. It's interesting. In Australia and New Zealand, they actually have a term for this disempowering activity. They call it cutting the tall poppy. And what that means is if you plant poppies, like a whole row of poppies, all of the poppies flowers grow up and they're all about the same height. But every now and then some poppy goes like a foot or two higher than all the other poppies. So the gardener cuts the tall poppies so that they're all the same height. And so when they say this in Australia, New Zealand, about child development, cutting the tall poppies, what they're saying is if a child expresses things